VoyMonk video voice vlog. Yeah, I was talking about yesterday selling and my aversion and my reluctance to want to sell. Mainly because I think it has to do so much, at least my experience, with the predilection or the idea that I know someone or I can predict what someone else wants or thinks or whatever. And part of the reason I'm doing that is because, VoyMonk here, telling you a little bit more about myself and, giving you some insight. I mean, obviously, there are things about the show. I mean, when I was born, when I came out of my mama's womb, she didn't name me VoyMonk. So, there's lines of, where I will and won't in terms of share. And as things develop, there may be more to that. But yeah, as far as telling you about myself, where I've been, I've talked about radio, but that's not the only thing that I've ever done. I think probably, my life, I wasn't always diagnosed clinically with major depression, major anxiety, or ADHD. In fact, it wasn't until much later in my life that I understand these things and how they affected my life and where they applied specifically in my shortcomings. That isn't to say that I don't have, just normal bad days and good days. It doesn't mean that the things that I experience are outside the scope of anybody, regardless to a disorder. It's just that on top of that, I actually have some things as far as my brain and the way that it works or in this case, in some ways doesn't work, that have a lot to do with the outcomes and my efforts and the way that I do things. When I talk about, for instance, my ADHD, when I say that, some people don't really know exactly what that means. For me, that means as far as my diagnosis, and keep in mind, I'm not suggesting that I'm an expert on ADHD and all the different elements, nor am I informing you everything about myself in terms of my diagnosis. I'm just sharing my experience. And with me, probably one of the bigger issues that I had, and you can certainly chalk this up to technique or habits or certain kinds of things that I, through nurture, maybe I didn't develop. My mom, she also had some of her issues as well. And I'm not emotionally dumping, just explaining my experiences and sharing who I am. And that is one of the things that has made up a great deal of my life, but I didn't always know it. In fact, it probably wasn't even close until maybe my 30s that it was really something that not only did I get diagnosed, but I had a better understanding. My mom did, but she had her own faculties and issues that she was dealing with that didn't get diagnosed, and she didn't have a lot of help. She's a single mother raising me and my older sister, and that's a difficult thing to do. And she definitely did the best that she could when you aren't able to articulate, when you're not able to do a lot of things, when what is known about how people think and their brains and how that relates to, social order and just everything else. Those are things that outside of what you see are the things that you don't see, on top of all the other things that people deal with in life. I mean, just regular folk. I mean, just because a person doesn't have ADHD does not mean that it's simple or easy at all. It's just, like I said, everyone's got their challenges, and it's not a race as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, like I said, going to work, doing the things that I did. One of the things I can give as an example with my ADHD is the ability to count. I know that's weird, but for me, if my mind isn't specifically engaged in a certain way, it's hard for me to focus beyond a certain point. So, like, for example, one of the jobs that I used to have is I worked for a video game selling place. I won't go with the name or whatever. I think some people might be able to figure it out. Or actually, you probably won't, because the place I worked for it doesn't exist. It was sold to another company. But just doing counts, handling cash, doing things like that was a difficult thing for me to do. And so, yeah, this is coming to the 5-minute mark. This is one of those things I might actually have to do, maybe a video voiceover, or kind of go into a little bit more about myself in some way. Or I might save it for Friday. But yeah, I'll elaborate a little more probably tomorrow too. So until next time, take care.